Hey guys, welcome to Team Epidemic. We are so sorry about not getting a video to you guys last week. We tried doing at least one a week, but it was regionals for us, and we just went out, checked out the format, saw what everybody was playing. Then we wanted to come home and make small adjustments to the decks to make sure we were giving you the best possible profiles for what's being played right now before the ban list. So that being said, this is a Trickstar profile that I've been wanting to give you guys for a while. It's super dirty. I'm actually thinking about starting to play this myself. I'm currently playing Strikers, but I'm just jumping between decks right now because it's such an open format that a lot of stuff is really valid. So, and I've always been a big Trickstar guy. But we run 3 Candinas, which is your Stratos of the deck. It searches Field Spell. Field Spell searches another monster. It searches the trap. It searches any Trickstar card. You have 3 Lycris, which just works really well in pair with Candina, and it's your main burn of the deck. Every time your opponent draws a card, it burns 200. You have your Lilybell, and then 1 of the Corobane, which is really good, but it's really not a battle-heavy format anymore, so it's not that important, but it can just help you clear certain problematic monsters, and it's definitely an extender, so it's well worth running at 1, and it's super searchable. I do run 3 Drolls just because Troll and Reincarnation Lock is still a thing. And I do have 2 Phantasmades in here. We know not everyone can afford Phantasmades. They are super good in this format, which is why they're so expensive. But if you can't afford these, you can bump consistency cards like another Call by the Grave in there, or any of the 2-ofs that's in this. You can actually bump up and just, help your consistency. I do have 1 Scythe. We are running the Artifact Sanctum package in here, although we do just have 2 Sanctums. We'll get to that in a minute. I do run 3 Pot of Extravagance, just because Trickstar does not need the extra deck at all. And just having the extra draw power in this is super crazy because it's already a 1-card engine that's like Trickstar's main thing is consistency. All you have to do is open a Terraforming or a Field Spell or a Candina and you pretty much have your engine. And that's 1 out of 5 cards. So being able to add +1 on top of that is just super awesome. 3 Field Spells, Light Stage. I don't run any of the newer Trickstar stuff, which I saw some people work the token generator in, and for this build to again, this is just first turn, go for as much damage as possible and stall your opponent out. So I wasn't shooting for any of the link climbing, and I really wanted to work Extravagance in here, so I didn't focus on any extra deck plays. I do have the 2 Terraformings, of course, and 2 Call by the Graves. I really love Call by the Grave in this format, so finding a place for a 3rd one in here would be ideal, and especially because you want that Droll and Lock combo to pop off. You don't want them to Ash 1 or something along the lines. I do have 3 Impermanents, and I know these are also, even though they're more affordable than ever, they're still sitting around $40 to $50 for the Ultra reprint, so you can swap these out for Veilers or any of your other hand traps or Strikes. Like Solemn Strikes are super good in this format, so if you're wanting more go first cards and you feel like you've got the hand trap, covered, you can just pick which one you need. 3 Trickstar Reincarnations, best card in the deck. Banishes your opponent's hand, they draw a new one. And I do run 3 Trap Trick. And pretty much this just lets you banish 1 normal trap and set 1 from the deck so they can't Ash it. And you can actually search out your Impermanence, your Reincarnation, so you can actually get like a core card out, which is insane. And you can get your Sanctums, your Heavy Storm Dusters, which I do run 2 Sanctums just because I don't need 3, especially with the Trap Trick engine, because most of the time Sanctum is what you go for. And I just wanted this consistency there because if I do draw the Sanctum, I can use Trap Trick to search out back row removal, the effect negation, or just the Reincarnation, which is always just a super awesome card to be able to search out and have an extra search for. Do run 1 Solemn Strike, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 1 Solemn Warning for the main. I love these cards. I would put more in if there was spots, but also you don't know if you're going first or second, and I do kind of like to keep my decks pretty balanced for both, so you can actually work some into the side when you're going first, throw them in. But that's pretty much it for the main deck. I have just a bunch of random cards in the extra deck. Well, they're not really random. I do run one Holly Angel, one Phantom Knights of the Break Sword. I've been playing this card in Trickstars for years, and I just can't see myself getting rid of it. I do run one Borload and one Boral Sword, which, again, you don't really use any of these because most of the time they're going to get banished with Pot of Extravagance. We have an Underlock Taker, a Unicorn, and Unicorn's kind of expensive. You can actually run Ningrishu of the World Chalice. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but he's a super budget alternative to this card, and it's actually a really good alternative as well. Nightmare Phoenix, just to pop back row. I'll put this in about every deck possible. I do have Winter Cherries in my side, so I have Suzuku and Kagari for the Sky Striker matchup. To really maximize your Winter Cherries, you want to have at least 2 targets, because I've seen Sky Strikers play without Kagari as long as they have Suzuku, and I've seen them play without Suzuku as long as they have Kagari. But if you take both of those away, that is all their consistency. I mean, they pretty much have to open up with Engage, and then they don't really, they can multi-roll it once, but that hits the deck hard. I do have Mermaid in here just for the Orchist, which, I mean, you don't really have to Winter Cherries that. I probably wouldn't even side it in, but it's just in here for space, and if you ever get Ibleed or just need to clear something out. I do have a Skull Dread for all the Guard Dragon and all that, and Thunder Dragon Colossus, which is just not fun for any deck to face, so if you just want to Winter Cherries that and not have to deal with it, just gives you another out. Trisabane's in here just as a generic Link 3. It's actually really good against Salamon Greats and Sky Strikers. You can just banish all their cards after you give them a Kaiju or something, and then just make your Link 3 play and banish it all because they can activate. And then I do have Salamon Great targets for Winter Cherries. I have Balinx and Sunlight Wolf. You definitely want to hit the Wolf first, but if you can hit a Balinx before they go into it, you can, I mean, pretty much shut them down if they can't get that field spell. I do have 3 Twin Twisters for the side, 3 Evenly Match, which I've seen a lot of players do away with this. I actually haven't been running it lately, but I saw it up at Regionals get dropped way more than I was expecting, which, I mean, it did just come out with a reprint and dual power, so everyone was pulling them and wanted to try it, and I still think it's a super viable card. Maybe not against all matchups, but, I mean, against, Sky Strikers, which is still the top deck in my opinion, I mean, this definitely hurts them pretty hard, so I think just 3 cards worth for them is not a very small price to pay. I do have the Winter Cherries, 2 Effect Veilers, 2 Kaijus, just because a lot of people aren't making big boards. I know there's Guard Dragons and stuff, and a lot of people are using Spear Modes, but Kaijus are just always good, because if your opponent just ends on 2 monsters, you can't really Spear Mode them, and nobody likes running Lava Golem, and Kaiju still give you your normal summon, and you can actually Kaiju the Sky Striker, lock them out of their back row. They can't activate any of their spells that turn, then just Twin Twister or Evenly Match, get rid of all that stuff. Or you can Kaiju away the Salamon Great Link, so their Roar's dead, all kinds of good stuff like that. And 2 Lancias just for the Thunder Dragon matchup again. I do really love Lancia at 3 because everyone says it's for the Thunder Dragon matchup, but I used it against so many decks. I mean, even just any deck that runs Desires, and also has some small banish engine. I actually went against Cosmos, which I was playing Sky Striker, so can be a pretty difficult matchup, and Lancia actually won it for me because I just discarded it. He couldn't banish, so he was just locked out for the turn. There's a lot of ritual decks that are going around that are using Extravagance and stuff like that, so I mean, it's definitely a super cheap, super viable hand trap in this format. But that's pretty much it for the deck. I'm going to throw you in some replays just to show you exactly how quick and powerful this is. And I think I got a couple grind games in there too, just to show you how the deck plays a long game. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to get you to those replays.